أنزل من السماء ماء فأخرجنا به ثمرات مختلفا ألوانها ومن الجبال جدد بيض وحمر مختلف ألوانها وغرابيب سود ومن الناس والدواب والأنعام مختلف ألوانه كذلك ومن الناس والدواب والأنعام مختلف ألوانه كذلك إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء إن الله عزيز غفور إن الذين يتلون كتاب الله وأقاموا الصلاة وأنفقوا مما رزقناهم سرا وعلانية يرجون تجارة لن تبور إن الذين يتلون كتاب الله وأقاموا الصلاة وأنفقوا مما رزقناهم سرا وعلانية
Jazakumullah ahsan. That was the beautiful voice reciting the most beautiful words of the Kalamullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it brings us to mind the beautiful saying of Zayyinu al-Quran bi aswatikum. But Zayyinu aswatikum bil-Quran as well. That you adorn the Quran with your voices, but clearly your voices are adorned by the Quran. So we make dua Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless Fadilatul Sheikh Harun Mus. He is the honorable son of the honorable Sheikh Hanif Mus, and the brother of the honorable Sheikh Ibrahim Mus. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise and elevate the status and rank of this family that has made khidmah of Al-Quran Al-Kareem for many, many years. And may they grow from strength to strength. And may we always have the memory to remember the legacy that they are leaving behind, inshallah. It is indeed a historical night tonight, because this invitation, I think, is about over 2 years old. And we said, despite the difficult circumstances, we need to make a plan. So straight from the aeroplane into the masjid. And it is indeed a historical occasion, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained that tonight is the night in which the community, this wonderful community of Panorama, will be able to share some precious moments with a person who comes from the honorable household of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce you tonight Fadilatul Sheikh Sayyid Muhammad bin Yahya al-Husayni an-Ninowi. And we have heard a lot about him, and you as a community have made his request because you have listened to his lectures. But indeed the Sheikh does not like introduction, safe to say that apart from being a scholar of the deen and a teacher of many students, he illuminates the hearts and the minds of people all over the world. And tonight, inshallah, we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extends that opportunity, that he can connect with the community of Panorama, so that his visit, inshallah, will be able to take you from a position of being closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So without further ado, I'm going to ask the respected and honorable Sheikh to just say a few words, and then we start. We have opened the floor tonight for an open question and answer session. So essentially it's your night. You have an opportunity. There are questions that have been bothering you, boggling your mind for a long time, raising from many, many issues. And you have been looking for answers. So inshallah, we are hoping tonight that the Honorable Sheikh will attempt to answer your questions, inshallah. He likes it when people ask the questions directly, so that there is no misunderstanding. And please feel comfortable to ask whatever questions you may have. And inshallah, we hope that through the answers that the Honorable Sheikh will provide, that you will find contentment in your heart and your mind, inshallah. So without further ado, and conveying our special salams to all the mashayikh, ayyuhal hibbatu fillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. To all the mashayikh, the hafaz, the khurra, and the honorable fathers and pious mothers and sisters, we are indeed very honored to be here tonight, inshallah. And we hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connects all our hearts with each other with the presence of the honorable Sheikh. تفضل مشكور.
طيب. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين، وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، ورضي الله عن أصحابه وأزواجه أجمعين، وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة دائمة كاملة ترضيك وترضيه وترضى بها عنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا، وزدنا علما وعملا وحالا في الدين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وآله في الأولين، وصل على سيدنا محمد وآله في الآخرين، وصل على سيدنا محمد وآله في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين، وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أما بعد فالسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Our brother, Allah bless him, Sheikh was reciting among the ayahs that he recited, obviously, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next ayah took us al-khashya here, so just so we know, يعني إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهِ, those who have khashya of Allah are those who have ilm. طبعا having ilm is one thing, and memorizing ilm is another thing. Al-Quran al-Kareem talks about al-ulama. In other words, it's not those who memorize knowledge, but those who internalize knowledge. And that separates the memorization from the internalization, which in turn separates the information from transformation. Many people have information, but few have transformation. Many people have memorization, but few have internalization. And therefore, يعني حديث سيدنا عبد الله بن مسعود, you all know it's a Sahih hadith. And سيدنا عبد الله بن مسعود أستاذ القرآن. يعني سيدنا عبد الله بن مسعود, النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وأزواجه وسلم said في الحديث الصحيح, خذوا القرآن غضا طريا يعني ابن أم عبد. If you want to take the Quran fresh, right now, take it from Ibn Mas'ud. You see, شوف سيدنا عبد الله بن مسعود ولسه هذا الصحابي الجليل العظيم الكريم, thin, dark skin, dark, وهذلي, لكن the tribe also has, among the Arabs, have slightly dark. So he's a darker skinned Arab, thin. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa azwaji wa sallam tells him, read it for me. And he tells him, Ya Rasulullah, aqra'uhu alayka nazar. Ya Rasulullah, you want me to read the Quran on you, and the Quran was revealed to you? شوف الأدب. Look at the adab with Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud with his beloved sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi. You know, he tells him, I love to hear it from other than me. Come. وهو ابن مسعود is the one who was behind Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa azwaji wa sallam when al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was praying on his own. Remember that salah of Salatul Layl? يعني Sayyidina Abdullah Mas'ud said, I came, I saw the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam praying Salatul Layl, Allahu Akbar, you know, I take opportunity. All of a sudden, after Al-Fatiha, Alif Lam Mim. Alif Lam Mim. Not many surahs starts with Alif Lam Mim, and usually if they start with Alif Lam Mim, you know, it's not just 3 letters. Huh? Well, Alif Lam Mim is, you know, Alif Lam Mim is long. Well, you don't remember that Bedouin? And did I tell you the story about that Bedouin? No. And then there's a Bedouin, يعني الأعراب, the Bedouins in the old days, they were far from the Medina, far from the Quran. They don't know. They don't know. He came to the masjid, to the Medina, and he prayed behind the Imam, and the Imam started with Alif Lam Mim. The whole Surah Baqarah he read it. And the Bedouin finished 3 hours, he's waiting behind. He told them, please, by Allah, what surah was he reading? That this was this long. They told him, this is Surah Al-Baqarah. So the Bedouin, Baqarah, that means it's a big surah. He came next day. He also for Isha, Allahu Akbar behind the Imam. And the Imam this time decided to, because people complain. So he says, Alam Bismillah ar-Rahman, after the Fatiha, Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. He heard the word fil means elephant. Salaam alaikum. They They said, leave me alone. The Baqarah was 3 hours yesterday. The elephant, we're going to be here the whole لذلك إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء لا الجهلاء يعني نسأل الله العافية والسلام. فلذلك in the next ayah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about infaq sirran wa alaniya, and then Allah seals the ayah by saying those people they actually hope for a tijara lan tabur. This tijara la tabur, there's no way it can go wrong. It's a business, it can never go wrong. What this infaq comes right after al-ilm wal-ulama wal-khashya. Yani here you have having khashya of Allah, which is taqwa. But then you have ilm, then it comes infaq, spending. Infaq means spending. Spending from that which you have. Allah says sirran wa alaniya, in secrecy and in public. And those who do this, they are hopeful for a business that can never lose. As if Allah is telling us another way, all other businesses will lose except if you're doing business with Allah. That's the business that will never lose. If you do business with the creation, you're going to lose. Like if you do business with Allah, you will never lose. Like the point here, al-infaq, spending. What if I don't have any money? That the Quran doesn't always mean spending from money. Spending comes on a level of magnitude and on a level of different kinds of spending. So number one, the quality of spending and what spending. Some people don't have money but they have ilm. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. Then the ayah of the infaq comes to tell you that also spending has to do with ilm. You may not have money, but you spend your ilm. Some people don't have ilm, but they have time. So they donate their time to Allah. He comes to the masjid. He is like, the Arabs say, hamamatul masjid. He's the pigeon of the masjid, huh? Why do they call the hamama of the masjid the pigeon? Because in the old days, if you remember, in my home, my home country where I was born, many of the old masajid, they have these wood logs, the trees, the whole thing, and there's pigeons there everywhere, and the pigeons don't leave the masjid. And at the salah time, they're always there. Well, they understand. إِن كُلُّ شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ. So he remains like this pigeon of the masjid, always doing that dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. الحمام المطوق. Allah, right? They say that's the dhikr of the pigeons as well. Anyway, some people don't understand pigeons. We have to go back to Sayyidina Sulaiman. علمنا منطق الطير وأوتينا من كل شيء. So he spends from that time Allah gives him for Allah. Some people spend from the money, some people spend from their time, some people spend from their ilm, some people spend their soul for Allah. He's spending time, he's spending ilm, he's spending the most precious thing he has, his soul, puts it on a plate and gives it as a gift. وَبَاذِلُ رُوحِهِ لَا يُلَامُ. The one who spends his soul, how can you blame him? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, didn't Allah say, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You shall not achieve piety until you spend from that which you love most. That is the quality now. So it's not just a matter that you spend from the quantity wise, but the quality. Allah wants you to spend for His sake that which is the finest. I always say, people want to give Allah what's left. Whatever, when he goes home, the best time he puts the TV and everything else, and everything comes. When he's totally dead and khalas, there's nothing, he just goes to the salah, let me just get it over with. Hatta for the masjid, no time. For everything else, there's all kinds of time available. Hatta for dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being with the salihin, being with Ahlul Dhikr, being with Ahlul Ilm, being with Ahlul Fadl, being with the people that guide you to Allah, not those who guide you to shayateen. And the roads of shayateen are many, but the ways to Allah is only one. Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu yukhrijuhum mina many dhulumat. Look, dhulumat is plural, one nur is singular. There's many dhulumat, but there's only one nur. وَإِنَّكَ لَتَهْدِي إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. Many people will spend time for other things. Here, this quality and the quantity. The quantity spend not from that which is left, but spend from that which is right. And you will get it back. That's the point of Iman. That separates from those who have Iman and those who don't have Iman. Allah promised you, if you do shukr to Him, He will increase you. You just have to believe in Him. Not believe in yourself or your skills, that's the wrong belief. Not rely on yourself and your skills, that's the wrong tawakkul. Use your skills and rely on Him. Use your skills and depend on Him. Use what He gave you, but believe in Him, not in what you have. Because what He has, مَا عِنْدَكُمْ يَنْفَدْ وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ بَقٍ. What you have is going to go, it's going to be subject to perishing. What Allah has is never going to go. Right. This infaqment, and therefore throughout the ummah you'll see some who gave lots of money. Sayyidina Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiyallahu anhu. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq was among the wealthy people. Unlike nowadays, I always say, Sayyidina Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when he came to the Khilafah, he was a wealthy person. But when he passed away, he was very poor, so that Sayyida Aisha radiyallahu anha did not have anything to shroud him with. So they asked, Ya Abu Bakr, what do you want to be shrouded in? We don't have any money. He told them, shroud me with my qamis that I used to visit Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Usually people, when they sit on the kursi, that's when the money starts going up. Not when the money goes down. When you become the Khalifa, that's when you start, things getting better. Like in Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, things were actually getting better, not the money-wise. Money-wise, he was badil. He was giving fi sabilillah. Abdul Rahman bin Auf used to give. Sayyidina Uthman, طبعا you all know. ما ضر Uthman, you know the hadith. Right? He bought the well, he bought this, he did this, جهز جيش العسرة. يعني سيدنا عثمان الفضائل والمناقب كثيرة. طيب. Some people gave their ilm. Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Ali, maybe they didn't have a lot of money, but they had ilm. They put the ilm. Some people also gave their souls. Everyone gave something, but they all gave. And in a certain time, those akabir of the Sahaba, they're willing to give everything anyway, everything that they have. That's what separated them from us. Their belief was actual in Allah. Many people's belief, they believe in Allah, but they still rely and depend on themselves and their skills. That's why they lose. Ajib, like Allah keeps giving. We every day display public disobedience of Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Publicly. Yani in the old days, they used to be ashamed to sin. You know, they hide when they sin. Imam al-Ghazali, rahmatullahi alayh, mentions this man who was an alcoholic. And he said that he was seen in a dream where Allah forgave him. What he used to do, this man? Al-Ghazali said, rahimahullah, he said he used to sit, he gets drunk, he drinks, and then he sits in a corner of one of the rooms where there's nothing, and he cries and he says, Ya Allah, which corner of Jahannam are you going to put this poor slave in? In which corner of Jahannam, Ya Allah, you're going to put me in? And he regrets and cries, and he cannot help, he does it again. And every day he does the same thing, and he sits and he says, Ya Allah, in which corner of Jahannam are you going to put me in? Yani in the old days, I say, they used to say, still there was some shame. When they sin, they cover, you know, Today, wal-iyadhu billah, al-jahr bil-ma'siyah. There is this public, this display of disobedience, public. You tell him, Ya akhi, fear Allah, ya, don't tell me, no. Don't talk to me about the deen now. Let's talk about, a'udhu billah. Sure. Lakin still Allah gives. Despite all this, He gives. It's attributed to, يعني, Rabi'a al-Adawiyya, allegedly. It's attributed that she said, أحبك حبين. She says, Ya Allah, I love you two kinds of love. أحبك حبين. أما الأول فحب الهوى. The first is because I love you. وأما الآخر فلأنك أهل لذاك. And the other kind of love is because you're worthy of being loved. Look at that love. You know, this deen is about love. We do all kinds of things and there's no love. Where are you going to go without love? The currency of the akhirah is love. You can't get anywhere without it. If you want to have anything in the akhirah to go, it's the love of Allah and the love of His Messenger, the love of the Sahaba, love of Ahl al-Bayt, love of the Salihin, love of the awliya, love of doing good things. أحبك حبين. يعني, look at this munajah from this pious woman when she's talking to Allah in her munajah, say, Ya Allah, I love you two kinds of love. Usually we say we only have one love. Like she says, Ya Allah, no, I love you two kinds of love, not just one kind. People, they don't know. People don't even know love, let alone two kinds of love. The first love is because I love you. I can't explain it. أما الأول فحب الهوى. And the second love, لأنك أهل لذاك. For you are worthy of being loved. She says, and the sign of hubbul hawa, the sign of me loving you because I am in love with you, Ya Allah, because شغلي بذكرك عمن سواك. I am occupied with your dhikr than the dhikr of anything else. The sign of loving you because I love you is genuinely inside of me. Naturally, I am just drawn to your dhikr and I am withdrawn from anybody else's dhikr. I don't see anyone else but you. I don't mention anyone else but you. How can I, since my heart is with you, my heart only sees your dhikr, doesn't see anyone else's. That's the real mahabbah. Not the talk saying, I love Allah and I love Rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and then our actions defy all these things. La. أما الأول فحب الهوى. I love you, Ya Allah, because I love you. What's the sign? What's the evidence? What's the dalil? What's the proof? What's the burhan? شغلي بذكرك عمن سواك. I am مشغول, يعني I am occupied with your dhikr, and I don't have to make dhikr of your creation. Dhikr means what? Occupying the mind, occupying the heart, occupying the body, and occupying the soul. Occupying the mind. You may be, what does that mean? Many people, they sit, whether they're on their hands or tasbih, or they have subhan, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. They're making dhikr with their tongue, but their mind is not making dhikr. They may be making dhikr of Allah with their tongue, but their mind is making dhikr of the creation, not the creator. No, maybe he's sitting with his tongue and mind making dhikr of Allah. I want to do istighfar, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, and conscious and concentrated. But his heart is making dhikr of the ma'siyah that he desires to go to again and again. The heart is still with the ma'siyah. You force the mind, the heart's going to take you away. Why do you think Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, hadith sahih, أَلَا إِنَّ فِي الْجَسَدِ مُضْغَةً. The body has one piece. If it's good, everything else is good. إِذَا صَلَحَتْ صَلَحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ أَلَا وَهِيَ الْقَلْبُ. The heart. If it's good, everything else will follow. If it's bad, no matter how much you beautify it on the outside, it's bad. Before the awliya of Allah is not only the occupation of the tongue or the body, or the occupation of the mind, or the occupation of the heart. It's also the occupation of the soul. They're all with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the ulama of suluk, Allah be pleased with them, they always said, ذِكْرُ الْخَلْقِ دَاء وَذِكْرُ الْخَالِقِ دَوَاء. The dhikr of the khalq is a disease, and the dhikr of the khaliq is healing. You want to heal? Make dhikr of Allah. The dhikr heals. Love heals. Dhikr of Allah heals. Cures things. So the first thing then we talked about is the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because she was saying that I love you because I love you. Well, where's the evidence? Many people today, they tell you I love you. Where's the evidence? Is it true love or not? أما الأول فحب الهوى. The first one is because الهوى. And therefore Ibn al-Farid, this sensitive Sheikh Umar ibn al-Farid, rahmatullahi alayhi, they killed him. Like they killed all of these muhibbins. He says, he used to say, in one of the things that he used to say, وَلَقَدْ خَلَوْتُ مَعَ الْحَبِيبِ. I have my khalwa with the Habib, my seclusion, me and the one I love. وَبَيْنَنَا سِرٌّ أَرَقُّ مِنَ النَّسِيمِ إِذَا سَرَى فَدِهِشْتُ بَيْنَ جَمَالِهِ وَجَلَالِهِ وَغَدَى لِسَانُ الْحَالِ عَنِّي مُخْبِرًا. Then he tells his heart, يَا قَلْبُ, يَا قَلْبُ, oh my heart, you promised me صبرا في حبهم فحاذر أن تضيق وتضجر. He says, I sit and I'm trying to استشف, and he's trying to build that munajah and connection with Allah, that talk to Allah, trying to be with Allah and leave the whole dunya behind and only with Allah, until he gets to a sense that he is in the presence of Allah, he is doing muraqabah of Allah, he's observing Allah, that he keeps doing istighfar until Allah is pleased with him, until Allah forgives him, until Allah mends his broken heart. Then he tells his heart, because this requires patience, وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا. If you're going to become a wali overnight, well, you can, huh? I'm not saying Allah's fadl is open. May Allah give us from His fadl. Lakin it requires, look at the Anbiya. Who is the best awliya? Anbiya Allah. No one is better than a Nabi. And the best of the Anbiya is Sayyiduna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What did he tell us, Sayyida Aisha radiallahu anha in the authentic hadith? Ma uziya nabiyyun mithla ma uzi. No prophet was harmed like I was harmed. وَلَقَدْ لَقِيتُ مِنْ قَوْمِكِ كَذَا وَكَذَا وَكَذَا. And he tells her, this is what they did to me, this is what they did to me, this is what they did to me, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's why there is that struggling. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who struggle in our path to seek us, Allah is telling us the meaning of the ayah, we shall guide them to our ways. But there has to be struggle. You can't get it while you're sleeping. Those who sleep, they only live in dreams. Didn't the poet say, Badr? قد فاتتك الغنائم تقاسموها وأنت نائم. Ya miskin, the booties have been distributed at night already. You are sleeping before Fajr, and you woke up for Fajr barely, and you're trying to do your sunnah, and there are other people who have been already awake before Fajr, and that's when the gifts and the booties were distributed. Malaika are handing out things here. This is your share, this is your share, this is your share. And then Maulana, you're sleeping. When you wake up, well, you might get something, huh? Like sleeping, Man talaba al-ula shakhir al-layali. He spends the nights snoring, right? He stay up the nights. That's the first love. The second love, لأنك أهل لذاك, because you are worthy of that love. And what's the evidence? She said, because you did kashf of the hujub حتى أراك. You kept melting down the veils in my heart and the veils before my eyes until I saw the effects of the manifestation of your qudrat, the effects of the manifestation of your beauty, the effects of the manifestation of your protection of me, the effects of the manifestation of your saving me, the effects of the manifestation of you loving me, the effects of the manifestation that you like me, the effects of the manifestation that you forgave me. Now you have to have feeling too. You have to have love. You have to have feeling to see these things. She said, وَلَكِنَ الشُّكْرُ, but the thankfulness, the gratitude in both cases are not for me. But I thank you because you allowed me to thank you. I thank you because you permitted me to thank you. I thank you because you guided me to thank you. I thank you because you showed me how to thank you. Now look at this ayah. يحبهم ويحبونه. يحبهم و they love, he loves them and they love him. The meaning of the ayah. Ajib, ayah, ajiba. Two words. يحبهم, he loves them and they love him. Ajib. How? Where's the ajib in it? The ajib is, you don't find it ajib or amazing that they love him. Why? Well, he created them. They need him. They need him. They want him. He has things that they also want. They depend on him. The ajib is that he doesn't need them. Nothing adds to his dominion with them, but he still loves them. This is the ajib. The ajib is that you need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, you say, I love because I need. I love because Allah will give me Jannah. I love because He is Kareem with me. I love because. But He loves you. Why? You are Kareem. Well, He's the Kareem. Huh? You are Rahim, He is the Rahim. You are what? You don't need, He doesn't even need you, but He still loves you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's His name, Al-Wadud. Al-Wadud, the most loving. The most loving. ويترجم هذا الكلام حديث سيدنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في الصحيح, حديث الصحيح, where النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sees a woman with her child being nursed, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells them that Allah is more kind on you than that woman on her breastfed baby. But you have to taste the lutf, and you have to open your heart for the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to open your heart for the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you are still holding on to everything else and you want to love Him, it's not going to happen. He likes you to go only with Him, for Him. He doesn't like you to bring everything else with. He doesn't like you to bring the dunya with and do the association, loving Him and loving everything else. No, no, no. If you love Him and you love everything else, you're doing shirk in mahabbah. Shirk in love. But if you love Him, He'll give you everything. What do you want? What is it that you want? Here, you are struggling in this dunya. What do you want? You want safety? Where do you think safety comes from? Having a gun? Being in a community, having alarm systems, electric fences? That doesn't bring you safety. Doesn't bring you safety. Because fear can attack you right in your bedroom. Fear doesn't need to go through the doors. Death, the angels of death don't need to push the button there. Assalamu alaikum, please can you open the door? I'm trying to take something. No, 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 no. They go through all the way without permission. They don't need permission because they already have Allah's permission. It'll come to you وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ وَشَيَّدًا. Even if you go to the highest mountain and you put yourself in a castle and you fortify yourself in a fort, it will come to you. Safety is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do you want to be wealthy? With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You'll be wealthy with Him. You want to be a better person? It is when you are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want to learn how to take our heart and only fill it with Allah's love so we can draw closer to Him. It is enough, wallahi ya habibi, we're wasting our time. We've already wasted enough time in our life loving this and loving that, attaching ourselves to this and attaching ourselves to that, relying on His word and His promise, and depending on His skills and His connections. Haven't you had enough? Isn't it time now that you turn to Allah and say, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Drop that, all that, that shirk khafi, that concealed shirk, drop it down. Ya Allah, go and run. You don't have time. Time is running fast. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Run with all your power to Him. All these arguments don't help. Hatta all the ilm, if you don't apply it, doesn't help. All these things don't help. All the looks you have don't help. All the checks you have don't help. All the credit cards you have don't help. All your phone and phone contacts don't help. The only contact that helps is your contact with Allah. How is that contact? How is that contact? Where is your heart? How is your heart? How is your attachment to the house of Allah? How is your attachment to the book of Allah? How is your attachment to the messenger of Allah? All these are questions. How is your attachment? How can you evaluate your own attachment? بَلِ الْإِنسَانُ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا. You judge yourself. Don't worry. كَفَى بِنَفْسِكَ الْيَوْمَ عَلَيْكَ حَسِيبًا. You are enough for yourself because it's clear. How is your relationship with the Quran? The book of Allah. How is it? You evaluate it. When was the last time you read a couple of pages from the book of Allah? Versus when was the last time you heard XYZ things? When was the last time you read the book of Allah? How is your relationship with the Quran? How is your relationship with the Messenger of Allah? When was the last time you sent 100, 200, 1,000 salawat on him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? How is that relationship? How is your relationship with Allah Himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala? In the salah, in the siyam when you're doing Mondays and Thursdays, or you're doing other nawafil of siyam or in Ramadan. How is that relationship with Allah? How is it coming? How is your heart with Allah? Are you close to Allah or are you far from Allah? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? If you want tijara, if you want a tijara that is not subject to bawar, وَأَحَلُّوا قَوْمَهُمْ دَارَ الْبَوَارِ جَهَنَّمَ يَصْلَوْنَهَا وَبِئْسَ الْمَهْوَارِ. If you want tijara la tabur, or tijara that's never subject to losing, you have to now, in your heart at least, start changing your heart towards Allah. Ya Allah, I want to repent. Ya Allah, I want to come back. Ya Allah, allow me to come back. Accept me. Ya Allah, forgive my sins. You need, every single one of us, we need to do these things. We need to go back. Habibi, Allah, this time is going to go. And we're all going to go. And the whole dunya will go. And everyone in the dunya will go. The only one that's not subject to change is Allah Rabbul Alameen. Build your relationship with Him now, before you go to the qabr and you have no relationship with Him. Because you will go alone. كَمَا خَلَقَنَاكُمْ أَوَّلًا Furada, you're going to go furada. Everyone's going to go single. You and your amal, faqat, that's it. Just like we created you in the first place. That love of Allah, please look in your heart. Look at what Rabi al-Adawiyya allegedly said. Obviously all the ahadith, all this, bring the love. We have a need. Today we live in a world where we are suffering spiritual drought. We have a need to bring the love of Allah to our homes, and the love of Allah to our children, and the love of Allah to our families, and the dhikr of Allah in our homes. When was the last time you had dhikr of Allah in your homes and you read Asma Allah al-Husna, for example? You read the book of Allah in your home, in the Quran, not only in the masjid. You say, I read the Quran, I come to the masjid every day, I read at least one page. Okay, thank you very much. Now, let me ask you about your home. When was the last time you and your family sat, not to watch movies? You and your family sat, not to watch the soccer games and the football, but you and your family sat to read the book of Allah in your home, so you can have some barakah in your home. You and your family sat to talk about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have a need, my dear beloved brothers and sisters, because love changes us. True love will change you. If you become, once you get into the circle of lovers, you're a different person now. You're among yuhibbuhum wa yuhibbuna. You're among those whom He loves. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala khala'a alayka khil'at al-mahabba, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shrouds you or covers you, you don't want to use the word shroud, I understand. Covers you or clothes you with the clothing or with the garment of mahabba. Wouldn't Allah say to Musa alayhi salam, وَلِتُصْنَعَ وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِنِّي وَتُصْنَعَ عَلَى عَيْنِي. Oh Musa, the meaning of the ayah, I have thrown onto you to cover you love from me. وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِنِّي. Yani as if Musa alayhi salam was walking and he's covered everywhere from the mahabba of Allah. The mahabba of Allah is covering him. Why do you think he was raised in the palace of Pharaoh? And everyone is making sure Musa is doing good. He's the enemy of Pharaoh. Pharaoh wanted to kill him. Even when he was born, he wanted to kill him. That's why his mother threw him in the river. But Allah now covers Musa with His love, so everything around Musa will love him. And they will have to treat him nice. أَلَمْ نُرَبِّكَ فِينَا وَلِيدًا. Who didn't he tell? Pharaoh told him, trying to show him that, you should pay me for the favors. You were raised in my home. Did I give you my home too? When you were a kid? لكن منا لله تعالى سبحانه وتعالى. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much. Like the brother mentioned, we just coming up off the plane. Alhamdulillah. لكن my advice to myself and you, Ya akhi, your life is counted breath. Your breath is counted. The more you're breathing, from your bank of breath, how many breaths you have? You're already decreasing every day. It's not increasing, it's decreasing. Regardless how long your life is. Don't waste your breath on he said, she said, he's better, she's better, this is better, this is... Waste or not. Allocate your breath for the dhikr of Allah and the dhikr of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will be happy. You will have an easier life. Nothing can harm you. Nothing. 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 No, nothing can harm you. Nothing. ألا إن أولياء الله لا. There's no fear. And there's no sadness. Who is subject to fear and sadness? Those who are not awliya Allah. But awliya Allah لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Why should they be sad if they are with Allah? If you found Allah, why would you be sad? Sad is if you're still looking after the dunya and you're putting Allah and His book, metaphorically speaking, and behind you. If you're running away from Allah, that's sad. Not if you already found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What would make you sad if you found Him subhanahu wa ta'ala? So let's turn this, our life we have, let's make it a point today to make tawbah. All of us. To make tawbah to Allah from the things that we do, from the bad habits that we have. Let's make a pledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we will put more love. We will turn our heart to His love. We will tune our heart to His love. Don't shut your heart up. Open it for His love. If Allah's love comes into your heart, it will illuminate it. It will beautify you. It will illuminate you. Wisdom will run on your mouth. You don't have to worry about it. It'll just come to you. Because it's just a natural flow from the heart. Open your heart and the rest will follow. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله والحمد لله رب العالمين. If they have questions.
Bismillah, inshallah, if we've got anyone who would like to ask some questions, inshallah, we'll try to. And as far as the men folk are concerned, Sheikh would like you to ask your question directly. And if there's anything from our sisters, we can then read it out, inshallah. Bismillah. We have lots of questions that are unanswered. Now's your opportunity. Bismillah.
Give him the microphone so he can ask his
Sheikh, I was 1-6 weeks ago in Malaysia, and an article that was hogging the front pages every day about the dog.
About that?
The dog. Some person arranged a touch the dog day, and the ulama were up in arms. They felt and saw it as an attack against Islam. Now, in South Africa, I think a lot of Muslims are keeping dogs, and you go visit them, you find a person come running out, grabbing, hanging onto the dog, open the gate and tell you to run into his house, and then he comes in afterwards. That person comes in and he greets you, and I think a lot of people are feeling uncomfortable about that.
Okay.
Can I leave it at that, Sheikh?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously the dog, according to the Jumhur, there is najasa, except طبعا المالكية. So I think طبعا Malaysia is a pretty Shafi'i country. So the hukum there is clear as far as the najasa that's hukmiyya to the dog. So therefore you can see the sensitivity. And with the Hanafis the same thing as well. And the Malikiya, they view the dog as contrary in a sense to the Hanafis and the Shafis and the Hanbalis. So, when there are reasons to have it, that's great. Other than that, I don't like to leave the Jumhur. If the Jumhur is on one opinion, it's nice to have that, inshallah, and Allah knows best. Unless you have the dog of Ahlul Kahf, then and may Allah give us that kind of dog. That dog is mentioned in the Quran ila yawm al-qiyamah. Many people would wish to have been that dog. And at least you read it in the Quran. Other than that, may Allah forgive us and alleviate our mental najasa and spiritual najasa as well. So He makes us pure, inshallah. Anything else?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can Shaykhuna kindly elaborate on the difference between tariqah and tasawwuf?
Yeah, tasawwuf to me is synonymous with ihsan. So al-ihsan came from Sahih, where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam said that ihsan is that أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. You worship Allah as you're seeing Him. If you're not seeing Him, He sees you. So to me, that's how I understand tasawwuf. So if anybody says tasawwuf is other thing, that's not my understanding of tasawwuf. So first, we ought to set the label. The label tasawwuf is an invented word. What does it mean in the book and sunnah? To me, it means ihsan. That's what it means. Nothing but ihsan. All right. So, in that sense, that's how I understand tasawwuf. Now, moving to the tariqah. Tariqah is a school of tasawwuf. So, what does that mean? So, we have ilm al-Islam, wal-Iman, wal-Ihsan. Islam, obviously, basically the ibadat. Salah, Siyam, Zakat, Hajj. That's fiqh. Iman is the matters of aqidah and faith, and ihsan is matter of spirituality or of purification of the heart. We have schools for fiqh. Shafi'i, Imam Shafi'i, Nasir al-Sunnah, Imam Ahl al-Sunnah, Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Idris radiyallahu anhu, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam al-A'zam, etc., right, and the like. Those who are on that same caliber or close. In Aqidah, we Ahl Sunnah, we also have Imam schools, Imam Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, Imam Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari, etc., right? Also, in Tasawwuf, we also have schools. School of Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani, school of Sayyidina Ahmad al-Rifa'i, school of Sayyidina Mu'ayyidin Tishti, or of Ihsan, just like the Shafi'i Madhab school is a school in fiqh, just like the Ash'ari Madhab is a school in Aqidah. So it's a school that people subscribe to, and obviously when you go and attend a school, like you attend the school of fiqh, there are codes and ethics and And certain pathways with every school, that's exactly the same thing with them. And Allah knows best.
Bismillah.
Shukran for the opportunity. Sheikh, thank you for the very good talk and reminder you gave us with regard to the relationship that we should build within ourselves, our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and of course our relationship with people around us, whether in our immediate vicinity or worldwide. But all this cannot be divorced from what we see worldwide as well. With respect, apologies to the brother about the dog. You know, the dog is a small issue. Now, lately, for the last few years, even the Palestinian issue, which is so close to our heart, for example, has been pushed to the side. Mostly because of a phenomenon that we see around us for the last few years. We see it in Africa, we see it in the Middle East, and now we see it especially now in Syria and Iraq. It hurts us. But I'm not trying to put any blame of the ulama, but only here in Cape Town. It's only been in the last 3 months that we've heard the ulama coming out boldly against that phenomenon of Muslim killing Muslim, Muslim killing non-Muslim, all without a speck of dust in their eyes. Everything is so easy. Why does our ulama not speak more about those issues? Because those issues will bedevil us even more and stop us from improving ourselves, our relationship with ourselves, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the people around us, because we cannot do those internal things and keep an eye away from those things.
In Islam in general, obviously I share your emotions and sympathy and feeling and hurt that you mentioned. And I think everyone in their right mind also shares that pain. There's a couple of things I should say about this. Number one is, in Islam we don't have hierarchy. So, with all due respect, it's the masses that also stipulate the level of scholars and scholarship. And it's the other way around as well. It's a dynamic relationship. It's not one dogma that says this thing needs to be done and I am the legal guardian of Islam just because I have an imam on my head. There's no such thing. You are just as a Muslim, just like I am. And you are responsible before Allah based on what you do and what your capability is. Whatever knowledge that you possess that I don't, similarly likewise, and whatever knowledge that I possess that you may not do, that you may not have. So I always call for a dynamic relationship between the so-called, and I hate to again put the caste system on the learned class and the unlearned class. And you know what? At the end of the day, I don't know if there's that much of a difference between the learned and the unlearned nowadays. I'm not saying that there aren't learned people. There are many great learned people. But, you know, I mean, you know, our knowledge and our community, there's a problem today that we face as Muslims. And the problem is serious. It's a crisis in knowledge in the first place. Why? Because today we have more information than ever, than any other Muslim generation ever had available to them. You can have one CD now with all the ahadith in the world that ever exist. Today we have oversupply of information, but we have no transformation. We ourselves are not transformed by what the hadith that we all believe. Yani, all right, the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith sahih, on the authority of Abu Hurairah, one of you would not be a believer until you love for each other what you love for yourselves. He's telling you, you would not be a believer. We all believe the hadith, but we don't practice the hadith. We're not even practicing or actually let alone being transformed by our own deen. There's a problem. Therefore, we render the deen today into an identity rather than a matter of belief and practice. It's an identity. whatever, you know, I believe it, yeah, but I mean, it's an identity. So I think blaming the scholars also is wrong necessarily if it's limited to that, because the learned people also have a lot of learning to do. I mean, you know, who says I'm a alim? I don't know. I can't say that for myself anyway. I mean, I don't think anyone respects themselves say I am a alim unless they're really alims and they're really, really big. And there's like a handful in the world that says I am a alim. Alim means the world, Maulana. You know, I studied this ilm for 25 some years, been teaching this ilm for 25 some years. I can only tell you I'm a student, and the more I learn, the more I realize how ignorant I am. That's a fact. I'm not telling you that to be modest. That's a true fact. That's a solid 100% fact. I'm not going to sit and pretend before you. All right. So we learn, and that's a here as an ummah, because we and the Sunnah don't believe in anyone that's infallible other than the prophets. So we all work together, and it's supplementing each other and helping each other. We definitely need to raise the bar for scholars and scholarship, and we definitely need to raise the bar for the masses and their engagement. So that's one. But it should be, then answering the second part of your question, it should be basic knowledge. That someone who tells you you need to go kill for the sake of Allah, that you need to question that fundamentally. Because Islam as a religion fundamentally is anti-violence. Islam did not come to allow violence. Islam came to declare war against all kinds of violence. So whenever I hear, whether he's a scholar or a layman, telling me you need to now go and use violence because Allah wants you to kill His creation so you can raise the flag of Allah, I have a problem with that fundamentally. If it's not explicit in the book and the Sunnah. So, look, again, I always say violence is the language of the inarticulate, and our Prophet ﷺ is the most articulate person Allah ever created. There is a fundamental problem with people using violence to spread whatever they want. And therefore I always say again, and there's nothing new, and those people who know me know that, all these things that are happening in the Muslim world, in my view, are for political games. Or political gains. Whatever you like to call it. The reasons and the causes of all conflicts, if not most, if not all, are ambition, greed, and self-interest. But they are cloaked with religious rhetoric to mobilize the masses. And if some scholar, I don't care who he is, comes and declares jihad and tells our young people, you need to take now a gun and start killing another Muslim because I disagree with that Muslim's political ideology. Excuse me? So you want me to kill other people because you disagree with them politically. One of the worst tragedies we've been having in the past 10 years is the turning of people who are scholars in fiqh, let's say. He knows the Hanafi fiqh or the Shafi'i fiqh, or he knows scholar in Aqidah or Tafsir. The instant converting into an expert politician without any track record and experience. Then issuing political fatwas against their political opponents. I mean, the masses are not supposed to follow blind. Nobody says, while we say we believe in taqleed, in the sense, but we don't believe in taqleed where you turn the head off, the bulb off. No, turn the bulb on. Turn the bulb on. If you don't turn the bulb on, and when you follow, when someone comes and akhi tells you violence, this Islam came to give life to people, ya akhi. Did not come to take life away from people. Nabi Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in Mecca 13 years people were worshipping idols right before him. He lived with them, he called them, He didn't, you know, it was a city living. Malaysia and Indonesia, you have a big Malay community here, you know that better than anybody else. There was not even one single sword that was raised in Malaysia and Indonesia.
No.
Those people became Muslims because they saw the original Malay I'm talking about, right? Because they saw that, you know what, these Muslims are coming, they have honesty, they have decency, they are truthful, they are trustworthy, they don't betray you, they don't cheat you, they believe in a positive contribution. You know, we want to be Muslims like them. That's why these people became, that's why it's the biggest Muslim country. The Malay people, I mean the Malay, basically the peninsula, which includes, you know, all Malaysia and Indonesia and all this Java and all these things. I mean, you know, that's the biggest Muslim country in the world. So we have to be careful, Sheikh, of employing political tactics or employing religious rhetoric for political gain. There has to be questions about that, especially from those who are not politicians. If you're let's say, an Islamic scholar in one field, whatever that, I mean, again, to me, an Islamic scholar is a big thing, Sheikh. You know, I mean, a scholar in what? What are you a scholar in? Fiqh? Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, are you an authority in it, or are you a student of knowledge in it? I mean, not someone who studies 10 years becomes an authority in something. You know, when you go to UCT here and study physics for 6 years, no one's going to call you a scholar of physics. You can't barely even teach university students physics. You need to get a PhD maybe, then you'll teach. Then they'll say he's a teacher of physics. After a few years of studying and writing, you know, tangible improvement and developments academically, then you may become a professor. You may become a scholar then, yeah. I'm not saying you're a master of it, let alone an authority in it. You're just a scholar of it. So let's keep things within where they belong. What are you a scholar of? Scholar of fiqh? Great, Allah bless you, so, you know. Or you're a scholar of fiqh and also a scholar in politics and with siyasa sharia and a politician, right? Let's see where your track record is and let's see what your experience is. But I mean, just because you put a beard and you have a ihmam on, and your name is XYZ with 7 titles before your name, in the middle and after your name, that doesn't make you an expert politician. It doesn't make you speak on behalf of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are not Islam, you are just a Muslim. Islam does not have a legal guardian over it, like some people want to pretend that it does. Islam is the legal guardian over all. We all aspire to reach Islam and to try to conform to Islam, what the Prophet ﷺ came with. No one was on top of Islam, Sheikh. No one is a legal guardian over it, and my word is Islam. No. My word is subject to what Islam says, which is the book and the authentic Sunnah. So, look, when you hear these things, this is part of the game. I mean, part of the game is that, you know, that also, that you have people who do these things for whatever it is. We're human beings, we're weak. You know, we fall for our desires, all of us do. So, but when people told you towards other than Allah, there's a problem. Killing Muslim or killing non-Muslim. Since when Islam came to kill anyway? Yani if Allah, when did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give any prophet weapons of mass destruction? When? That we have authorities, yani we have in the Sunnah of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, obviously he tells Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when the angel came and said, let me just, you know, destroy everything for them, doing this to you and this to you. He says, I wish that Allah leave them. I wish that Allah brings good people out of their offspring. This is what we have, ya akhi. So we have to be careful, Sheikh, with mixing. I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is that people need to be experts and they have a track record in what they say that's academic and reflective and valid in the subject of what they claim expertise in. That's all.
Naam.
And Allah knows best.
Can the Sheikh please explain the term bay'ah and what is the condition of the one who did not take bay'ah, who does not have a Sheikh to follow?
Look, I mean, this follows the question about the tariqah and the tasawwuf. I believe tasawwuf is for everybody. I believe tasawwuf, meaning ihsan, is a must for everybody. Yani you must actually go through heart purification. Because Islam, Iman, Ihsan. So purifying the self and all this is a must from the deen. هذا جبريل جاء يعلمكم دينكم. لكن طريقة to me is a school of tasawwuf, and because tasawwuf is a knowledge that's widely open to abuse, because the rules within it are not defined to everybody. Not like the fiqh. And if somebody tells you in the Shafi'i fiqh, the mas'ala is so and so and so, well, you can easily go back and figure it out. But because tasawwuf is a knowledge that was always open, and especially the tariqas in a sense, that it is very light, it's very abuse. It could be easily abused if it's in the wrong hands. And therefore I always say, my view is, while tasawwuf I believe, yani ihsan is fard, ihsan is fard, that in the meaning, that you have to be among the muhsineen, you have to do good, you have to love Allah, you have to love His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like participating to a tariqah or a specific school of tasawwuf, that's not fard in my view. It's for those who want to do more, for those who want to devote themselves more, for those who want to give more, give back more, for those who want to take, they spend their life serving the deen, they want to even do more serving the deen, to guide Allah, the creation to the Creator. In that sense, for those who want to aspire to that, yes, that's for them. And in that sense, the bay'ah is basically a pledge. When you go sign up for a University of Cape Town, UCT, don't you go and fill out an application? And at the end, what does it say? You click this, I agree to the terms and... Oh, you already know it. So you agree with everybody else, but you don't agree here? تلك إذا قسمة ضيزة. This qisma is not right. There's a problem with this qisma. You agree with everybody's condition, you have to agree with everybody's condition. That's what it is. You come to any school, like you go to UCT, there's conditions that you abide by, and ethics and all these things. And here you also abide by those conditions. That's what the bay'ah is basically, that I agree to the conditions, I pledge before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I agree to those conditions, will fulfill them. Until death do us part. Actually, in that sense, death does not do us part. Because it's spirituality. And spirits, death doesn't do them part. Because that would be in the barzakh and in the akhirah.
This one is a fit question, and I'm sure they should refer to the local imam.
Local imam, so they give them the...
It's a fit question.
I'll give you a Shafi'i madhab in general.
So the question is, Allah forgives all sins, and why is it that it is said that the one who dies with a debt, that his soul does not enter Jannah until the debt is discharged? That even if one dies a shaheed, that the person will not enter Jannah until the debt is discharged. So there's a two-part there. So how is one supposed to buy a house or car, etc., if one does not have the cash, which means you indebt yourself, you're forced to engage in a transaction involving usually interest?
So, I mean, look, this whole issue of being obviously in debt, because let me address the first part, and the second part I'll leave it to the local mashayikh, Allah bless them, there's plenty of them who are more knowledgeable than me. So, first of all, there's two rights. The rights of Allah upon you, and the rights of the creation upon you. Allah may forgive you with His rights, but you have to pay the rights of the creation, حقوق العباد. Yani you cannot just, I cannot just steal from Sheikh Mukhtar, 100 rands, and then I say astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, khalas, done. Then Mukhtar will go on the day of judgment and say, I need my 100 rands back. And I have to pay him back. I don't have it, he will take from my hasanat. Huquq of the ibad you have to pay back. Simple as that. So if you violate the rights of the creation, you have to give them back. The rights of Allah is between you and Allah. If you do tawbah properly and correctly, tawbah nasuha, may Allah forgive you. Ameen. Tfaddal ya Sayyidi.
Shukran for the opportunity for a second question. Sheikh, we agree with your sequence of Islam, Iman and Ihsan. Apology because I don't know the reference in the Quran, but maybe one of our Sheikh in front can give us the reference. If they can't, then Allah in the Quran that says, that refers to, oh you people of Iman, come into Islam. Can you explain to us this sequence which brings us back from people who have Iman, or supposed to have Iman, that Allah tells them come back into Islam. Is there something missing that they did not attain?
Yeah, I mean, if the ayah that I'm envisioning, again, I always warn my brothers and sisters, when you mention Allah says, you gotta say it like Allah say it. So when you mention the translation, you say which may mean, because I can't scan it in my head based on the meaning, you see. So, but I think I'm assuming the ayah, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا ادْخُلُوا فِي السِّلْمِ كَافَّةً. أو آمنوا يا الذين آمنوا. Anyway, silm here doesn't, on one, the Mufassirin have two issues here. They say silm here means peace, or they say it means Islam. Alright? So how does it then work when you say, oh you who believe, enter Islam? Islam in the linguistic sense, lexically speaking, it means to submit and surrender. You see, you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I shouldn't mention you. Somebody, he believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has Iman, but what is it? He's still not surrendering on one or two issues to Allah. He's still following shaitan in this issue. So the Quran comes and says here, in order for you to be in total Iman, you have to be in total submission and surrender. So it's the completion of the Iman, and Allah knows best.
In the back.
Just following on the question of the soul, the spiritual leader that we have, or that the Tariqas have, what is the position regarding to intercession?
Look, we believe that the intercession is for the Prophet ﷺ, and we have also narratives that there's intercession for others. So I think if you are close to the Prophet ﷺ through your shuyukh and yourself as well, you may be eligible altogether for the shafa'ah and the intercession from those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants them intercession. So there we go.
Salam, Sheikh. Could you just clarify something for me, please? Is it accurate in saying that only Muslim people will be accepted into Jannah? Or would you be able to say that Christian people or Jewish people that live a good life, if you want to say it like that, for lack of a better word, would also be accepted?
So this is a question of accountability. After the coming of the Prophet ﷺ, so again, after the messenger of the Prophet ﷺ, so obviously those who were with Sayyidina Isa, with Jesus, and they were his ashab, they are people of Jannah. Those who were with Moses, with Musa, and they were his ashab and mu'mineen, they will go to Jannah. Those who were with Nuh, those who were with Ismail, etc., etc. Okay. After the coming of the Prophet ﷺ, then the condition is obviously for those who have heard the message among the other three conditions. They become accountable, or they become mukallafeen. So if they have heard the message, the question is, like Imam al-Ghazali puts in the Tafriqa, which is a very important point, is hearing a distorted message, does that count as hearing the message? So there is kalam between the people of kalam, between Ahl al-Kalam, there's talk. You know, what suffices to validate accountability for non-Muslims. So it's a matter of talk, and obviously, most would agree that hearing a distorted message leads to a state of unaccountability. And what does that mean? Only Allah knows. So I'm here, we have to understand one thing that's very, very important. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ, Allah says. Having said that, we as human beings and as Muslims, we are not equipped to judge the destinies of others. Let me repeat it again. We are not equipped. Our design, we are not equipped to judge the destinies of ourselves, let alone others. We're only equipped to judge the manhaj, or the methodology, the path in general. We say, this path, we believe it'll take you to salvation, This path, we believe, it will not take you to salvation. So, we can judge the path. We cannot judge the individual's destinies. Alright?
نعم شيخ سؤال بقي حوالي 3 أسئلة. ما حكم من لغى يوم الجمعة؟ لأن
خلي هذا الفتنة.
طيب. Please, we want to know if it is bid'ah to celebrate the birthday of Rasulullah.
Take out the word celebrate. Why do you use the word celebrate? Use express happiness. Is it bid'ah to express happiness for the coming of your messenger? You should be happy. You should express happiness all the time. Express happiness. Celebrate, you're already using somebody else's vocabulary. We express happiness for the birth of Sayyidina Rasulullah for his coming to the world, for his hijrah, for many things in his life. We're happy for everything about him. Is there prohibition? I'm not supposed to be happy for him coming? I'm happy. So please be happy.
سؤال الأخير. How can we improve our concentration in our salah? Our love for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam grows as we do. Do we ever have to fear or limit this love if we are strong in kalima that Allah is the greatest and know that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his servant and messenger? Is it a limitless and free love?
You think you can actually not love. You think you can thank Allah the way Allah is worthy of being thanked? You think you can thank Rasulullah for what he did to you enough?
Yeah.
So you're telling me you can love him enough? Well, thank you.
Next question is to do with Woolworths, but that's a local question and that's for the local imam.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضاه يا أكرم الأكرمين. اللهم وفقنا لاتباع نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم في الأعمال والأقوال والأخبار والأخلاق. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعد تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل اللوم فينا ولا معنا ولا من يتبعنا شقيا ولا محروما ولا مطرودا. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم اغفر لأهل القبور من المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات. ارفع لهم الدرجات وكفر عنهم السيئات يا رب العالمين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وسلم. دعوهم فيها سبحانك اللهم وتحية السلام الحمد لله رب العالمين.
This one is your presentation to Sheikh, inshallah. It's the presentation of the show. Sheikh, on behalf of the